Hi, good day and welcome to video 12. Now today we're going to be talking about expanding brackets. Now we covered a couple expanding brackets briefly, I believe in video 3 or video 4, somewhere around there. However, I only did simple examples. Now today I'm going to go through the whole of expanding brackets. I'm going to start with the easy questions and I'm going to build up to the harder questions. So let's get started. Now, one thing to remember about brackets, whenever you have a pair of brackets and there's an item outside, it's important to note that there's a secret multiply between the number and the brackets, or the item and the brackets. Not all examiners would put in that multiply sign. So I suggest that you actually put it in if it's not there to remind you that it's a secret multiplication. Now, since it's a multiplication type of question at the end of the day, we can use the NLS rule. Remember, NLS is used for multiplication and division, not addition and subtraction. So let's get started. How much items do we have in the brackets? We have 2 items, minus 3x and 2. Now, how brackets work is that everyone inside the brackets gets multiplied by the item outside the brackets. That means if I have more than 2 items, if I have 1,000,000 items inside the brackets, that means each single item, each of the 1,000,000 items will get multiplied by the item outside. So let's use the NLS rule. First of all, this 2 is a secret positive. So I suggest that we actually put in the positive to help us, to remind us that it's a positive. Let's start with the numbers first. 2 by 3 is 6. 2 multiplied by 2 is 4. We're finished with the numbers. Next on the list is the letters. When we were multiplying these 2, the letter involved was X. When we were multiplying these 2, there was no letter. So you just shrug your shoulders and be happy that there's no letter to deal with. Who do we deal with last? We deal with the signs. So a positive by a negative. Well, a positive and some people call it a negative, some people call it a minus, right? A positive and a minus is a minus. And a positive multiplied by the next positive will give you back a positive. Now, this is the end of this particular question, because on top here, it was a multiplication question. After we multiplied down the brackets, you notice the brackets disappeared. It turned into an addition and subtraction question. And if you remember from video 1, you could only add and subtract if the letters have the same, if the numbers have the same type of letters. You notice he has an X and he doesn't have an X. Well, you cannot squish them or combine them to get one number. You have to leave them separate. So that's the end of this question. Now, this was a beginner's question. I don't believe that you'll get something like this in an examination. Let's try something a little bit more difficult. Let's try this guy. Question 2. You notice you have brackets again. And we don't have anything simple outside like this question. Instead, we have minus 3my. Between here and here, there's a secret multiply. And this means all the items inside here get multiplied by the item outside. So since it's a multiplication question, we can use the N, the L, and the S. So let's start off with the numbers first. 3 by 15, I believe, is 45. 3 by 2 is 6. We're finished with the numbers. Who's next on the list? The letters. Now, we're multiplying the M and the Y by the X and the Y. It doesn't matter which letters you do first, but let's just do the M and the X first. So when we multiply the M and the X, we put back the M and the X. But we have a Y multiplied by a next Y. Y multiplied by Y is Y squared. Note that this squared only belongs to the Y. When we were multiplying these 2 by the K, what letters were involved? M, Y, and K. So when we multiply this by this, we get M, Y, and K. We're finished with the letters. Who's next on the list? The signs. Now, one thing I forgot to put in was this 15, you don't see a sign here, so it's automatically positive. A negative multiplied by a positive is a negative. And a negative multiplied by a next negative is a positive. This is the end of this question. This has completely different types of letters as this one here. So we cannot squish them together or combine them. So that's the end of that question. Let's try a harder, well, not a harder question, a trick question. Will be question 3. So, sometimes I get questions from students. Usually the number or the item has come first. But on some occasions, the letter comes after. Or the item comes after. You notice how the brackets came first and then the item after? And I'm not too sure why, but a lot of students get confused when they see this situation. The rules still apply. All the items inside the brackets gets multiplied by the item outside. And what do you have in between here and here? There will be a secret multiply. Now, instead of multiplying this way, we just have to multiply this way. And we're going to use the same rules, the N, the L, and the S. Let's start with the numbers. 5 by 5 is 25. 5 by 10 is 2. Sorry, 5 by 2 is 10. I mixed up myself here. So 5 multiplied by 2 is 10. So we're finished with the numbers. Who's next? The letters. When we were multiplying these two, the letter was K. When you multiply these two, we have K and M. So we put the K and the M. Now this 5, if you look to the left, you don't see any sign, so it's automatically positive. A positive and a negative is a negative. And this 2 is also a secret positive. A positive by a positive is still a positive. Notice the letter types are different. One has K and M and one just has what? K. It's impossible to squish them together to get one answer. So that's the end of that question. So let's do a slightly, well, something slightly more difficult than this. Here's one of the more popular situations I've come across. I'm just going to take a 2x minus 1 in brackets, and then you have another pair of brackets. Now, so we don't have one pair of brackets, we have 2 pairs of brackets. Now here's how we're going to do this. Look at the first pair of brackets. There are 2 items. What we want to do is ignore the second item in the first bracket. So this minus 1, pretend he is not here. And what we're going to do, we're going to multiply both these items by 2x. And when we're finished, we're going to block the first item and then pay attention to who now? The minus 1. And we're going to repeat the procedure. Multiply both of them, not by 1, but by minus 1. Remember, this minus sign belongs to the 1. So let's get started. Let's block this minus 1. So we're going to multiply both of them by 2x. So it will look something like this. We have the 4x minus 3 as these 2 guys, and we're going to multiply by the 2x. Remember, we're only paying attention to the 2x. That's how that will look. Now, we're going to pay attention to who? The minus 1. And we're going to take the 4x minus 3 and multiply them by minus 1. Notice I did not forget the sign. So, let's multiply out this pair of brackets and then multiply out this pair of brackets using the N, the L, and the S. So, N, L, and S here, and also N, L, and S here. It comes like 2 separate questions. So work out this one, and when you finish, work out this one, work out that one. So, 2 by 4 is 8. 2 by 3 is 6. Letters. X by x is x squared. X by no letter is no letter. And now the signs. Now remember, this 2 is positive. And this 4 is also what? Positive. Because when you look to the left, we didn't see anything. A positive by a positive is a positive. A positive by a negative is a negative. One common mistake is that people forget x multiplied by x is x squared. Let's handle this pair here. 1 by 4 is 4. 1 by 3 is 3. This 4 is a positive. Well, let's put in the letters. When we were multiplying these two, the letter involved was x. And what letter we have here? No letter. A negative and a positive is a negative. And a negative multiplied by a next negative is a positive. Right. I think I made a mistake somewhere here. I believe the mistake is over here. No, that wasn't intentional. I really did make a mistake. I forgot that 2 by 3 is 6. But when we were multiplying these two, the letter involved was x. I had forgotten my x there. Guess everybody makes mistakes. Alright. So, what we need to do, we need to simplify this as much as we can. Remember when you're adding and subtracting, you are allowed to combine or squish together items that have similar letters. I just want to clear one thing up. X squared is not the same thing as x. X squared is completely different from x. They look similar, but they're different. So, we have positive 8x squared. This minus 6x and this minus 4x, both of them have the letter x. So it's okay to squish them together to get one answer. So, signs are the same, so we add, we will get 10. Don't forget to put back the letter involved when you're adding and subtracting. And you have to put back the sign of the larger number. The larger number is this one here, the minus 6. And don't forget Mr. Positive 3. This is your final answer. Because this has an x squared, which is completely different from x, and he has no letter. So it's impossible to squish them together or combine them. So that was question 3. Let's try the next one. Try something slightly harder. How about this? 2 by 4x minus 3. And then you have a next pair of brackets here. 3x minus 2. Don't let this scare you. If I give you a simpler question, look below here. If I told you to multiply 2 by 4 by 5, I am almost certain you can do this question. You would say 2 by 4 is, 2 multiplied by 4 is 8. And then you multiply the answer by 5. So 8 by 5 is 40. So, in other words, you shouldn't try to multiply all 3 in one shot. Do 2 at a time. Now, I would get the same exact answer as if I had multiplied these 2 first. You notice in this one I multiplied the first 2. But in these two, in this one, if I multiply the second and the third one first, so 4 by 5 is 20, and we still have to multiply by 2. 2 by 20 is also 40. So, it's a similar situation here. This comes like the 2, this whole thing comes like the 4, and this whole thing comes like the 5. And we're multiplying 1, 2, 3 items here. Well, we have 1, 2, 3 items. And what we're going to do, we're going to multiply only 2 at a time. So, let's start off with these 2. Remember, there's a secret multiplier here and there's a secret multiplier here. Let's handle these 2. 2 by 4 is 8. 2 by 3 is 6. The letter involved here is x, and there's no letter here. So, here's a positive and here's a positive. Positive by a positive is a positive. A positive by a negative is a negative. Now, we have to take this answer, the one we just got, and multiply by this. Now, I'm going to write the wrong thing first. So, we're going to take this and then multiply by 3x minus 2. What could possibly be wrong there? I just said we want to multiply this whole thing by this. But my brackets are missing. Because if I write it like this only means I'm multiplying the x. For me to show the examiner and myself also that I want to multiply this whole thing by that pair of brackets, I have to put this in brackets. And now we can get started. Remember how we did it last time? We would pay attention to, we'll block one of them and multiply everyone here by 8x. Then we will block the 8x and multiply both of them by minus 6. So let's get started. So, you're paying attention to this one. We're going to take this 3x minus 2 and multiply by positive 8x. Then we're going to take this pair of brackets again and multiply by minus 6. I'm not going to forget my signs. This minus sign sometimes goes missing. So let's complete the question. This 3 is positive. If you look to the left here, this 3 is also positive. Multiply the numbers. 8 by 3 is 24. 8 by 2 is 16. X by x is x squared. X by this, the only letter involved is normal x. A positive and a positive is a positive. A positive and a negative is a negative. We'll write this squared a little bit bigger. Right. 6 by 3. 18. 6 by 2. 12. What letter was involved here? Only x. And what letter was involved here? No letter. A negative and a positive is a negative, and a negative and a negative is a positive. You notice these two items have x in them. So, we have positive 24x squared. And these two, if you combine them, because both of them have x, you're allowed to add them. Signs are the same. So, 16 plus 28. So, 16 plus 18. My calculator, what's going on with me? 16 plus 18. 34. What letter was involved? X. Which one is bigger, the 16 or the 18? The 18. And then we bring down the positive 12. Alright, and that's the final answer. Because this one has an x squared, which is completely different from x. And this one has no letter. So that's the final answer for this one. Alright. I want to try one more. Oh, let's do this a different way. Instead of giving you a next question, let's do this a different way and see if we get the same answer. You would think I teach maths, I will be able to add up 16 and 18. Brain freeze. Alright, so let's try this question a different way. Now, when we first did the question, I had multiplied these two first. What would happen if I decided to multiply these two first? Would I get the same answer? Let's find out. So we're ignoring this. So, what we're going to do, we're going to pay attention to the 4x first. We're going to multiply both these items by 4x. And when we're finished, we'll multiply both these items by minus 3. Let's get started. We have positive 4x. And we're going to multiply this by 3x minus 2. Now this 3 is secretly positive. Now we're going to take these two and multiply by minus 3. So we take the minus 3 and we're going to multiply it by 3x minus 2. Let's use the n, the l, and the s. The n, the l, and the s. 4 by 3. 12. 4 by 2. 8. X by x is x squared, and x by no letter will give me back a x. Positive and a positive is still a positive. positive and a negative is a negative. Finish with this guy. Let's go over here now. 3 by 3 is 9. 3 by 2 is 6. What letter was involved here? X. What letter was involved? No letter. This 3 is secretly positive. A negative and a positive is a negative. Multiply 2 negatives, you get a positive. You notice this has an X and this has an X, so we could combine these two to get one answer. Minus 8 minus 9. Signs are the same, so we add, we'll get 17. Don't forget to put back the letter X and put back the sign of the bigger one. Bring down the positive 12x squared and bring down the positive 6. Now remember, we had multiplied these two first, and the answer we get, ta-da, we have to multiply by positive 2. So we're going to take this whole answer now. Notice I put it in brackets to tell the examiner that I am multiplying this whole thing by positive 2. Let's use the N, the L, and the S again. 2 by 12 is 24. 2 by 17 is 34. And 2 by 6 is 12. Wow, what N? Well, now for the letters. The letter involved here was x squared. The letter involved here was x. And the letter involved here was no letter. Positive by a positive is a positive. Positive by a negative is a negative. And a positive and a positive is still a positive. We got back the same exact answer. So it doesn't matter if we multiply these two first or these two first. We'll get the same answer. Alright. So I hope you understand how to expand brackets now. However, in my next video, I'm still going to do some more expansion of brackets, but I'm going to involve fractions in it. You notice so far we didn't do any fractions. So in video 13 will be the expansion of brackets that involve fractions also. Right? Once again, don't forget to visit the website below and to see a listing of all our videos. Right? So thank you and have a good day.